Okay, everyone, hello and welcome to Wednesday's morning briefing from the Celtic Way. Looking back on Celtic's oh so close last night in Munich. John is with me, Tony's with me as well. You're still in Munich, Tony. Are you going home, or are you just staying there for good?
Yeah, I'll come home eventually. Got an extra day because I think when we originally booked it, we thought the game would be on Wednesday. So I'm out here for an extra day. So I'm going to enjoy that. But yeah, last night just so close, but so far.
Yeah, it's brutal, John, isn't it? I mean, what a performance from the team, but just so horrible at the end.
Yeah, yeah, undoubtedly. I think even at half time before Celtic scored, I had a feeling of something's in the air tonight. There's a wee bit of magic in the air. And when Kuhn stuck that away, you get to that stage. Started feeling like one of those kind of World Cup games you get, or like those big knockout games you get where something special can just happen, and like you're at a crossroads, so it goes down one way or another way. Unfortunately, it went down the other way for Celtic last night, but I think for Celtic to put themselves in the position to even have that chance was exceptional, especially from being 2-0 down in the tie in the first leg. So it is gutting. There's no way around it. It does feel gutting. It does feel disappointing, but there's obviously real shoots of positivity coming out of it too.
I did say to you, Hamish, they would have their moment,
Yeah.
didn't I predicted how it would go yesterday from the team lineup to what would happen, and it kind of mysteriously almost came true. All that was missing was the miracle in Munich, which I sort of said was team Celtic up for. But I said to you yesterday, Celtic would take the lead. You would have your moment when the dream would be well and truly on,
And
and
it
I think,
was.
and it was. I think every Celtic supporter felt we can do this. The chance they missed in the first half, then there was a Maida diving header as well. If he gets more purchase on that, it is what ifs, but you know,
Yeah.
I guess it's like Celtic losing at home to St Johnstone or something and still pummeling them, isn't it? And then you think, yeah, they'll score. I guess Celtic get a wee touch of their own medicine. Maybe sometimes it happens in the domestically, and they got a wee touch of that in the European football. But certainly, I just think every Celtic supporter is beaming with pride today at that level of performance against that calibre of opposition, and those players to a man. Every one of them was a hero, and they couldn't have done any more.
Okay, let's before we continue the chat, just hear what Brendan Rodgers had to say after the game last night, and yeah, what he thinks we've gained from this campaign on the
I
continent.
think European credibility was always going to be important for us this season. That's my takeaway from this campaign over the 10 games. We learned some valuable lessons along the way. We played some amazing football along the way, and we've taken a club of this size and magnitude, and a club where one of the players is maybe more than our budget to buy players what they might be on in salary. So that and everything that comes with that, it allows us to build. I think last year I felt that we had developed, even though we never got the points. I thought performance-wise it was good. I think this season it's been very good. We've made the progress that made me want to come back. And now we've got to finish the season off strong. Got 2 titles to go for. Get into the Champions League next season. Look to build the squad again. And my unswerving plan is to make this a season club at this level where we can go and really hurt big opponents like Bayern Munich. Well, firstly, I was speaking to Martin and Neil Lennon, and those are 2 guys that have got extensive experience of European football at this club, and with the greatest respect, they were waxing lyrical about the performance and the result. And like I said, they recognise this is Bayern Munich, that we've come into their backyard and run this tie in this game here very, very close. So I think performance-wise, result-wise, because it feels like a defeat, but we've come to here and we've got a very much deserved draw in the game, but sadly it wasn't enough for us. We'll look back to the first game and those little details around the goals that we conceded then, But I think it can give us nothing but confidence to show that, you know, the template I spoke about defensively was very good. We limited them to not so many chances. We looked dangerous when we had the ball. We had some real good opportunities. And going forward, we can take confidence from it and look to build the squad in order to be competitive at this level.
So he wants to make us a seasoned club at that level, John, a team that can hurt the likes of Bayern Munich. I would suggest that we're not a million miles away from really seeing that.
Yeah, and it's funny that's the hunger of a football manager, isn't it? It's like, what, half an hour after a devastating result and he's already talking about the future and what he wants to bring to Celtic long term. And I think Celtic and Rodgers has done such a brilliant job in taking Celtic strides forward of where we were in Europe. And I think Celtic's future in the Champions League in Europe is obviously tied to what Brendan Rodgers' plans are at Celtic and how long he's planning on staying here. It sounds like he really wants to make another impact next season at the very least. He's building towards the summer. He's building a new squad, a new group, but retaining what he has at the moment. And I, like you say, I don't think Celtic are a million miles away. They're already putting work into. They've brought Kieran Tierney at left back, for example. So there is work to do, but it's heartening to hear him immediately lay that out in his post-match press conference, talking about how he needs to improve the squad, how they need to keep pushing forward. That's the hunger you need at a big club like Celtic, and Brendan Rodgers laid that out perfectly for me.
Yeah, I agree. So on you go, Tony.
That was an elite level manager talking last night. That's why he came back, and it's nights like last night which will make him stay, because he wants Celtic to progress to that elite level and to be that club. What you felt last night was your honour, prestige, pride back on that stage, because for years Celtic had been seen as the whipping boys in the team people wanted to draw. Not anymore, not on Brendan Rodgers' watch. Our fortunes in Europe are now intrinsically linked on this man committing his future to the football club. But he sounded like a man last night that was, you know what, I think I can take you to where you want to go. And now it's all on the board, isn't it? I think you looked at the bench last night and there wasn't many game changers on the bench.
Yeah, sure.
So now we've come so far. It doesn't stop there. You want to go to the next part of Brendan Rodgers' development of this football team, where you have a strong bench and you turn that into a win. You do create that miracle that I was talking about. You do advance. You do claim the scalp of a world-class opposition in a European heavyweight. That's the challenge, and that was a manager who, as John said, half an hour after, when we should, like the rest of us, was crestfallen and deflated, was laying out his plan for the future. So you just hope, we're all listening, you just hope the people upstairs who control things like purse strings and finances are listening too. It's what we all crave. And I think, as I say, nights like last night vindicate Brendan Rodgers' decision to come back, but it's also what will keep him in situ for the foreseeable future. And getting him tied down to a bigger contract must be paramount for Celtic at this moment in time.
I think for me the thing is that you can see it now. We have tangible evidence of the Champions League this season of progress. And I think, to be honest, now we can kind of look back, and I know Brendan Rodgers has only been here for 2 seasons in the Champions League, but I even take it back a season further where the majority, or certainly a fair amount of that squad, was played in the Champions League for the first time under Ange Postecoglou. That first season was basically about being back, wasn't it? And we had some good moments, some good performances, but we came up short. I think we got 2 points or something like that. The next season, last season, when Rodgers came back in, there was improvement. We were a lot closer in games. It was only that Atletico Madrid away game where we were totally outclassed. And I remember saying in the summer, while a lot of people were saying, you know, Celtic are miles away, I said there was evidence last year this team is learning and getting better. It was the big moments in both boxes last year, missed chances, bit of bad luck, and, you know, the Lazio home game and stuff like that. And then this season, again, just real progress this season. And some slightly, you know, more favourable fixtures, I think we have to say, but also some really tough games like last night where Celtic have really stood up and you've seen the progress. So I think for me, the positive thing is now we're actually seeing the tangible rewards almost already of the last few years. And I'm already just excited for next season now, the fourth year, to see what this team can achieve. Because for me, that this year, the big thing's been belief. And I don't know if they had much belief really at this level at the start of the tournament. I think the belief now will be massive and add a few bits of quality next season, John. Keep Brendan Rodgers. He's obviously going to be here next year. And even with a slightly tougher, obviously we need to qualify first, I should mention that, but even with a slightly tougher run of fixtures, should we get to the league phase, I still back Celtic to make that top 24 because, I mean, last night's about as tough a fixture as you can get in Europe and we nearly won it.
And I think the league phase is just a good format for Celtic in general. I feel like it's helped Celtic kind of reset their relationship with the tournament. There's not every single fixture is doesn't feel as much high stakes. It's not like a home and away against the same teams. I just feel like playing a variety of teams from different pots, and you're going to get 4 home games, I think is a big thing for Celtic and has been a big thing as well, regardless of who we can draw. It's more just about the format for me. I think is really good for Celtic, and obviously you mentioned qualifying there. So what's the setup? I think it's one playoff round that would have to navigate, potentially seeded. Hamish, is that how you?
I was looking. I kind of spent far too long earlier looking it up. So we have one round of qualifying. There was a small chance that we might get an automatic place if the winners also qualified through their league, but that's closed off now. So we're going to definitely have one round to qualify, and it's so hard to know whether we're seeded or not because there's so many variables, teams, whether they win the league or not, coefficient points to be gained for the rest of this season, country coefficients. So it's too hard to say. There's a lot of big teams that could be in. There's a lot of decent teams, good teams that could be in, or even the Champions route. I mean, Dinamo Zagreb, if they manage to win the league, are higher coefficient than us. Shakhtar Donetsk could be a potential team in that route because the Ukrainian leagues come right down, but I think they're third in the league at the moment. So you're basically hoping teams like Dinamo and Shakhtar don't win their league because then we have more chance to be seeded. But I think it's going to be tight to be seeded. I was looking actually at the coefficient points we've gained this season. 16 points we've gained this season. In the previous 4 years before this, we get 22 combined for 4 years. And we've got 16 for this year. So that tells you the improvement that we've had this year.
It also tells you that this new format suits us. I remember saying at the time the old Champions League format had gone. There had to be a recalibration of Celtic in this new tournament. And I've seen new Champions League, new Celtic. And I think that's what Rodgers was thinking as well, that it would be a new Celtic that participated in this new inaugural Champions League phase, and so that's what he wants to turn Celtic into regular competitors at this level, and I think it's been good for Celtic, and it's been the thrill of a lifetime, isn't it? These past 10 games, highs and lows.
It's been amazing. Loved it.
You said yes, correct. You said it's arguably the most enjoyable campaign in don't know, in your lifetime of watching Celtic, but certainly in a long time anyway, let's put it that way. And so in that experience, you heard the players. Alistair Johnston said they want more. Callum McGregor said they want more. They'll be all the better for that experience. And they'll not care who they get in the qualifiers because there'll be a steel of determination there to say, right, doesn't matter. To play like that in the Allianz Arena, for me, you can do it there. If you can perform to that high level there, nobody should frighten you now. That's your template. Your bar and standard have been set, and this manager knows how to set up a team to get results. Aberration in Dortmund, go to Bergamo against last season's Europa League winners. You get your draw. You play RB Leipzig second in the Bundesliga at the time, and you play them off the park. So, bit by bit, now it all goes back to now we just need the right personnel to come in and add to what you've already got and keep that team together, for a couple of years and let Rodgers do what he said for the next couple of years at this elite level of competition, because he is, and it's a hill I'll die on. This is why he's an elite level manager. End of.
Tony, just something I wanted to ask you. Obviously, you touched on the players there. I mean, from here, it looked like there was a lot of emotion straight after the full-time whistle. Callum McGregor looked a bit emotional, and Cameron Carter-Vickers obviously as well, a few of them. But you got to speak to a few of them later on once they'd had a shower, got dressed. What was the feeling? What was the kind of mood you were getting from the Celtic players? Was it that kind of defiant, we're going to come back bigger and better type thing?
Yeah, very much so. Callum McGregor, Alistair Johnson, Austin Trusty were all spoken to in the mix zone, and that was the message. They were just like, do you know what? Loved that as an experience. Didn't like the result. It's heartbreaking, gut-wrenching, all of the above. But you know what? As a player, it's where they want to be. It's the level they want to be competing at. Domestic dominance is fine. They love that. That's your bread and butter. You need to win the title to get to this level again. But they were just like, and I think they were immensely proud of themselves because nobody gave them a chance. They were written off. People were saying it was going to be another Dortmund. They know they could lose. They could lose heavily, and then it turned to last night. Yeah, had it gone to extra time, they would have lost heavily because they were tiring. Nobody can predict that. So who's to say Celtic couldn't have scored again in extra time and actually won? So these guys were just immensely proud of coming so far and evolving as a football team in this Champions League under this manager. And I think they were just like, right, what does the future hold? Bring it on, because we're not scared. There's no fear factor anymore about going to places like that. And there was very much that defiance, as you say, and pride, and also, heartbroken at the circumstances upon which they exited the tournament.
Hamish,
that is...
Sorry. No, I was just going to ask you, Hamish, did you feel like Celtic were going to get their second wind if it went to extra time? That was my feeling. I felt like they sat in for after they scored the goal and kind of defended, but it felt like, like Tony's saying, anything could have happened in that extra time period. Yeah,
I think we'd have made subs because the manager made two fairly early on. I think half an hour to go, 20 minutes to go. So I think, Luke McCowan would have been a certainty to come on, and he would have probably buzzed about a bit and potentially made something happen. And it's just wee things like if it had gone to extra time and then Bayern scored early on, you've got time to try and do what we were kind of hoping. Best case scenario at the start of the game was we're a goal down and we can give us a chance, give us a hope going into the closing stage. Just keep it alive was basically the hope. So that would almost been the worst case scenario at that stage, that Bayern would have got an early goal in extra time and we would have had time to put them under some pressure. So yeah, I don't know. I also do feel we were tiring a fair bit, and it's impossible to say, isn't it? But I'm actually sitting here really, and I've been up all day, and we're what are we, like 12 hours on, more than that from the game, and I'm still not sure how to feel. In fact, that's not right, because I know how to feel. I'm immensely proud of them. I think I'm as proud of Celtic as I've ever been after last night, and we don't do glorious failure, and that's something I've noticed from the Celtic support. We don't do that because we win. We leave glorious failure to, well, you know who, but it's hard not to just feel gutted last night with how it ended, but then equally just be so proud of the team. It's a weird feeling, this, and I'm still not quite sure how to feel about it, but I can't even remember what you asked me now. Hopefully I answered it, John. It's all happening.
No, you're right. Yeah, I think, and this is a point I made last night, Celtic don't celebrate defeats. Obviously last night wasn't defeat, but they don't celebrate going out of Europe, and I think that's what will drive Celtic on to improve and want even more out of this. And there was a good comment in the chat there, like Feyenoord reached the last 16, Club Brugge reached the last 16. That is the benchmark that Celtic need to set themselves,
But these are teams that have been in competition for years. I mean, Bruges, I think, they must be on about 6 or 7 seasons in a row. We are on 3 in a row. So I have no doubt that if Celtic keep progressing, we're going to lose players, but replace them, act like a big club. I have no doubt that we'll have nights like Bruges did last night when they battered Atalanta. Like, there is no doubt to me where this is heading.
I always bang on about Celtic acting like a big club. they really have a chance in the summer to do that, don't
Yeah.
they? John said it there. Kieran Tierney's coming back. They brought Jota back, and for 60 minutes, Jota's not fully match fit. There's a difference between fitness and match fitness, but he was dancing up and down that left wing in the Allianz, taking guys on for fun. Can you imagine a fully fit Jota playing against that calibre of opposition? I mean, he was not any, and he looked distraught to come off, but he just knew his race was run. But the manager,
tiring.
yeah, and it was clearly a tactic. I need an hour from you. I need to stay in this game. I need you to do stuff. I want to be creative, but take the ball a wander and beat players and just get his territory. And it was exactly what everybody wanted. If Jota comes on with half an hour to go, the game could have been lost at that point and out of sight. So we needed him for that. Jeffrey Schlupp as well. He had intimate knowledge of Michael Olise. You thought when the game started, he's going to get a roasting here, but how he grew into the game,
yeah, he was brilliant,
immense. And I'm just like, wow, So these guys were in for a reason. What impressed me last night? There was a structure, there was organisation, there was discipline, but they were also very clinical when they had the ball. Spoke about ball retention. It's one of the best games in terms of ball retention I've seen from Celtic in an away tie against a team of that calibre. The ball retention was brilliant, and those chances that they created in the first half, they weren't just lucky. They carved Bayern Munich open, carved them open with some intricate passing in and around their penalty area, and coulda, woulda, shoulda, but should have scored. Domestic games, they bury them, no bother. So I was impressed with lots of things last night. So that's what you're talking about, Hamish. That's where the excitement comes from. Yeah, you're gutted to exit the tournament, but there's an evolution here. It has to continue because this manager knows what he wants to do and where he wants to take Celtic. And Feyenoord and Bruges are living proof of what can be achieved. Bruges have gone to last season's Europa League winners and won. That's the extent of Celtic's ambitions now. These are the scalps Celtic now need to evolve further and have to start claiming. And I think Rodgers feels that this team with a wee bit more star quality can start to do. Yeah.
I don't know if you ever crack it for a team like Celtic. I don't know if you ever crack European football, John, but you do look at the home stuff, and like we're a match for anyone at home. I think. I mean, I'm not saying we'll win every game or even avoid defeat. We saw that last week that we can still lose, but we're a match, I think, for any team in Europe at Celtic Park if we bring our top level. And there's signs away from home now. For the first time, I think, in my life almost, Celtic look organised away from home. We were 30 seconds away from keeping a clean sheet in the Allianz Arena to back up clean sheets in Bergamo and Zagreb.
Yeah, and listen, if the Dortmund result was a line in the sand for Brendan Rodgers and these players, then it was worth it. It's as simple as that. You take a defeat like that if it helps clarify in the players' minds and the manager's minds what they need to do away from home. And obviously, I think going to Atalanta and kind of responding to the Dortmund match was a big moment for these players, and they actually speak about it a lot, unprompted sometimes, about that. And I think it was a crucial moment. It's belief, it's resilience, it's all those things that you need in Europe. And again, we've always just wanted Celtic to compete. You're talking about, this has been one of the best years in Europe for Celtic for a long time, and it's true. I think supporters have been waiting for this from the club for a long time, waiting for these moments where, look, we might not win every match, we might go out of Europe, but you just give it as good a go as possible. Put yourself in the position to make something happen. And like you say, it's not. There's no crack in Europe. There's nothing definitive because there's a lot of bigger budgets at play, which is undeniable. Rodgers spoke about it there, but it's about the club lining itself up and working at its efficient best with the resources that they have to put themselves in a position to really compete on stages like this. And Tony's right, the club have that opportunity again this summer. The resources are there, the coaching talent is there, the manager is there, a lot of the players are there as well, and it's just about now believing as a club. It's not just the players who have to believe, it's the club have to believe that they belong at this level. The entire club has to believe, not just Rodgers, but the board, everyone, chief executive, the chairman, everyone. And it's about putting it all together and and moving forward as a unit, which is something Brendan Rodgers has been preaching for the last 12 months. We're starting to see the fruits of that now. And like you say, there's levels to go, because Celtic can give anyone a game at home, like you said, and now away from home, now have that belief. The players have that core belief in themselves that they can compete against these players, and good things will come of that.
There also has to be, and I'm not talking about an arrogance when I use this word, but I can see that you do belong here. For years, people have battered Celtic and said they don't belong here, but it's time to puff out the shoulders and stick your chest out and say, you know
I
what?
agree. We're a good team.
Yeah, we're here and we're a good team. Casper Schmeichel said it. You know, everybody was saying such, and Casper Schmeichel said, we're a good team. We're going to show that. And there was that steel of determination from the managers and the players in the lead up and the build up to say, we're a good team. Everybody, always, and I've said this before as well, always emphasised what Bayern Munich had. No, Harry Kane, they've got Elise, they've got Musiala, they've got Kim Min-jae, they've got Kimmich and all that. What about Celtic? Celtic had Jota, they had Maida, they had Sloop, they had McGregor, they had Engels performing out his skin last night, showing you why Celtic forked out the money for him. You know, a young player, and you turn and you say to yourself, brilliant Jota as well, as I mentioned, great building blocks upon which to really have that platform to progress. And as John said, those upstairs need to back this manager and push Celtic's financial envelope to the nth degree for the parameters of a club like Celtic, and give us the best possible chance that when you go back in, you negotiate the qualifiers, no bother, and you turn around and you have another campaign like that, regardless of the draw. But there has to be a moment when even those upstairs say, right, this manager knows what he's doing, trust him with the football side of the operation. What do you need, Brendan? What can get us to, you know, as I said, they made the playoff round this season. Can we get to the last 16? You know, that inwardly, speak about that inwardly, don't ever say it outwardly, but that's one of your, put that up in the big chart, the big board, whatever you do. That's where we want to be. We don't want a hard luck story this time next season. We use that as fuel for saying, let's take it a step further, let's progress.
Hamish, what do you think the vision board looks like in Michael Nicholson's office?
Oh, who knows? Who knows? I don't want to speculate on that. I just hope that he's seen that last night. He'll obviously have seen it. I hope that he's, you know, aware of how amazing, you know, the potential this team has, and how good a manager we have, and just back him.
He was there, wasn't he? Both him and Dermot Desmond were in.
Yeah, I saw Dermot Desmond, certainly.
So they were there, so,
yeah.
You know, they watched living proof of a Celtic team competing against one of the teams who set out to win this competition because the final's in their own backyard, and it would be seen as failure if they don't.
And I just thought last night, like, Arne Engels was excellent. Like, I thought you just saw evidence of a player last night that's the exact kind of signing Celtic should be making. Yes, the most expensive signing in our history, but you see that kind of quality that you signed, and he's only going to get better. I really thought, it might be early to say it, but I thought it was a kind of coming of age performance for him. I just wanted, just before we go, guys, obviously we're over in Europe for the season, John, but we've still got so much to get our teeth into between now and the end of the season. We're going for a treble. I'm already looking at a couple of games against you know who across the city and thinking, if we play like that last night and believe in ourselves and maybe take a wee bit of anger out on them, and because the last couple of derbies against them we haven't been good, you know, that's a big part of the rest of the season, but so much to be gained still.
Yeah, absolutely, and Rodgers is going to reinforce that. He's going to try and use last night as motivation for the players to keep their standards high for the rest of the season, because we know that if things dip, you know, football's and life at Celtic changes very quickly. This team need to keep their standards high. They need to keep pushing forward. They need morale boosting results between now and the end of the season, and hopefully, obviously, that treble is very much alive. And I think if Celtic go on and do that this season, they're just in such an incredibly strong position, even stronger than this time last year. And it feels like every year people say, you know, Celtic are in the strongest position they've been for years. And maybe that's a sign of the progress too. But, you know, deliver in these closing stages of the season. Lay more damage on Rangers. Streak as far ahead in the Scottish Premiership as possible. Just keep on going. And that's what you need. And I think Rodgers, it's clear that he's up for that as well. That's what he wants from this team. He's not going to let this team rest. He seems very motivated at Celtic right now. I think last night was further proof of it, and I think that will be the message he's projecting going forward.
It was his Jerry Maguire moment, wasn't it? Who's with me? 30 minutes after it, it's like, who's with me? Not aimed at the players or the supporters, the men upstairs, the suits. You just sort of
show me the money as it was.
Yeah, show me the money. Short of that, but that kind of who's with me, who's coming on this journey, because good things could happen if you come with me and you back me and you believe in me. And I think everybody does now after last night. It's real grounds for optimism, isn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting when you go out the Champions League, and I guess we'll find this out over the coming weeks and months. But the reaction's interesting, especially when you're so far ahead in the league. Is that kind of the end for the players almost? And do they struggle to hit those heights again this season? I could be wrong, but I just get the impression last night might almost galvanise them even more. And I know we're not playing a team like Bayern Munich or even close for the rest of the season. But I just wonder if there's a target in there that might even have been spoken about. Don't lose another game domestically. Go and wrap this league up and win the treble. And I really hope that's the case. I'm kind of ready to go now, I think, for the rest of the season, starting at Hibs on Saturday night. Let's go and obliterate the opposition. And if we go and win a treble, this will be remembered as one of the best seasons we've had in a long time. You better get yourself up the road, Tony. We've got trophies to win.
But you treat every game from now on in like you're playing Bayern Munich. And that's how you win the treble in style. And I'm sure the manager will re-emphasise that point and drive that home.
Yeah. Loads on the website, John.
Yeah, we've got loads coming up. As I say, Tony was speaking to players last night. We've got some of that going out over the course of the day. Ryan's doing an in-depth look using some of our exclusive data and scouting tools, etc. at the game last night. We've got loads. We've got a deep look at Kasper Schmeichel in Europe this season as well from Stuart Ross, one of our analysts. So we've got loads of in-depth stuff as well as all the comprehensive basic news and explainers and all that kind of stuff. So we're fully covered on the Celtic way, both in terms of news and more in-depth quality pieces. And be covering Celtic, in or out of Europe over the next while. So we're excited about that.
Okay, CelticWay.co.uk for everything you need, and we'll be back tomorrow with the morning briefing on here, chatting some more and maybe start to look ahead to Hibs on Saturday lunchtime. Okay, guys, safe journey home. Tony, thanks, John. Thanks everyone for tuning in to this one, and we'll catch up with you this time tomorrow.